NASCAR Championship weekend coming to town at Phoenix Raceway November 5th, 6th, and the 7th. This is the Inside Lane. I am your host, Devon Henry, and joining us today on the Inside Lane, he's the 2014 ARCA E-Series champion, the 2007 Indiana State Karting champion, and a 5-time winner in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. From Louisville, Kentucky, it's Ben Rhodes. Ben, thanks for joining me.
That was a heck of an introduction, and I love the 2007 Indiana karting reference thrown in there. That was awesome.
Hey, well, the trophy's on the trophy case, right? And now you're adding and adding and adding, and this year you won 2 races at Daytona. You had that awesome win at Darlington this year. And when you look at, okay, it's been a bit of a streak, but you've been hot as of late. You have already tied your career record in a season for most top 10s. I mean, something is a little bit different this year about you. What do you think you have changed as a driver when it comes from last year into 2021?
I don't know that I've changed a lot. I feel like I'm a little more relaxed every time I get in the truck than the time before, right? I'm seeing things a little bit more clearly as time goes on, and that comes with experience. But I think the big difference this year is I've got a really good group of people behind me, and ThorSport has been doing great as a team this year. I mean, Toyota they came on board for Daytona, and right off the bat, we had speed, that speed that we were just missing and looking for and searching for. So we get a ton of help from Toyota. They give us all kinds of engineering support, and that makes a world of difference. And then, my group of guys that I have with me this year, they're very committed and hard workers. And I got to say, Rich Lucius, my crew chief, knows how to put a setup under a truck, and all that is good stuff, right? All those are pieces to the puzzle that make one big whole, and it's awesome.
And you talk about how well ThorSport has been doing. You look at the last race at Las Vegas. You guys all finished inside the top 5. You're the first one in victory lane to go and see Christian Eckes and congratulate him. And now we just stop for a while until Martinsville comes along. We got like a whole summer break, like back when we were in school or something. What have you been doing to keep yourself entertained and just not laying on the bed staring at the ceiling during these past few weeks?
Yeah, it's been a little crazy. I got to say, though, we're really busy at the shop. We're building a brand new truck for Phoenix. It's a little risky, right? You're taking a truck that's brand new, never been on the racetrack before, to the most important race. But we've got the confidence that it's going to be the best one. We're putting a lot of time, effort, and energy into it. And all the trucks that have kind of been built like this, my teammates have loved. Matt Crafton's running one of the new trucks, and he runs it all the time because they love it so much. So they seem to have really good speed with it. So we've been building that thing out, massaging it. Our Martinsville truck's been done for a few weeks now. We could have been racing in Martinsville a few weeks ago. We're ready. So this whole time we're just massaging and building trucks real careful. And look, we're staying busy. And for me, my wife and I took a little mini vacation. We went down to the Florida Keys for a little bit, and kind of building and rejuvenating at the same time.
And I want to look into your career in NASCAR, because when you look at so many of, especially these youngsters like in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, it's a family thing, whether it was in NASCAR or in another part of the sport. And your family was no sort of NASCAR, stock car aficionados. So for you guys trying to work your way up through the ranks to now become driving full-time in a national series and going to victory lane now 5 times in this series, what was one of the most difficult parts of you and your family trying to bring you up the ranks, and now here you are having some of that success finally?
Yeah, that's how long you got? That's a really good question. I could talk about this for a long time. It's tough when you don't have family and you're an outsider for sure. I mean, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I still live there actually. So I'm definitely an outsider. But the good news is the team I'm with, ThorSport Racing, is kind of the outsider team too. They're the only team in NASCAR that's not in Charlotte. And Duke Thorson, our owner, is super proud of that. I'm super proud to be where I'm at and going up to ThorSport. We've got a very similar attitude on that stuff. We're like the outsiders, I guess, but we love it. We embrace it and we have fun with it. Doesn't mean we don't have friends in the sport now. We have a lot of friends, but we got that. We're just not located there. So things are a little tougher for us. But I know starting and trying to come up through the ranks, when I was 6 years old, I didn't even know what NASCAR was. I'm just, why is the sky blue? What are the clouds? I'm a 6-year-old. I don't know what anything is. But I knew that I loved riding 4-wheelers, dirt bikes, and go-karts. That was all I did all day. My dad had to change the tires out on the go-kart multiple times because I would just be burning it up out in the front driveway. We had like a little turnaround circle, and I used to spray it down with water and see how many times I could, do a 360 and keep it going in the same direction. So I loved it, and they thought, maybe this is something he could do to race. We got into it, but man, we didn't know how tough it would be, not knowing anybody, not knowing anything. My dad had to be pretty much my coach, and he had to learn it from scratch. We didn't know anything. So it's been a heck of an experience. I could talk about it all day, but I wouldn't trade it for anything because it's definitely molded me into who I am today.
And we talked a little bit last year about, as you've grown up, all of us find different hobbies and things, but not all of us fall in love with aviation. Where did flying and wanting to be in air, like where did that even come from then?
I guess just an exploration or adventure attitude in myself. I've kind of got this I guess it's like a wanderlust type of mentality to me. I love to travel, but I hate traveling, if that makes sense. I love being at the destination, but I hate being on commercial airplanes. I hate being crowded airports. I don't like Ubering and different stuff that you have to do for traveling. I don't like staying in hotels, but I love to travel and see things. So it seemed like it would be really cool to get my license. I thought at the time, with me traveling as much as I actually found a good way to kind of justify it and say, okay, I can rent this plane. And if this person comes with me, which they typically do, then it's going to be about the same as a ticket, all of our tickets. So, let's do this. I can get an education. I can get hours on my logbook, and then I'll always have that. I'll always have that education, and maybe in the future I could turn it into something more. So I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. And that's another thing. Like, I don't actively use my license all the time, but that training I'll never forget. And I'll tell you, it really opened up my eyes to different things and learning opportunities in the world. So it's one of those things I also wouldn't take away. It made me a little stronger as a person.
And of course, we all know that you love to go fast. You guys probably have a screw loose all trying to do race cars and whatnot, and now you're flying as well. Can you take any of that training and put it into NASCAR racing somehow, like what you learned and into the world?
Actually, some of the physics from it I've actually taken and put into. I've tried to implement into racing. So I also went to school for HVAC, and I've taken some of that thermodynamics, like physics, and tried to implement into racing. How to keep hot things hot and cold things cold. So I've learned a few things from different fields that I've been trying to bring over to here, and I can at least make my point. We're still developing things, but I can at least make a point and try to talk intelligently. But yeah, I love the whole flying thing and the whole racing thing. The speed is definitely what I like. So the flying was pretty fun. I would say being smooth in the airplane and being smooth in a race car, those are the two things that translate. Being smooth and always thinking ahead.
I always like when I'm on commercial, my pilot is smooth. That also, I'm a fan of that as well. So, but you have the aviation, and then you have the race car driving, and you have the education, you got the family. But, I mean, we see the personality at the racetrack. We see your attitude at the racetrack, and, of course, we see your want to go out and win. But who is Ben Rhodes when you step out of the cockpit, when you go back home to Louisville? Who is Ben Rhodes?
Pretty private person, honestly. I have a hard time posting on social media and stuff because, number one, it seems like nowadays everything's so negative on there, and then also like keeping up with it all the time. So I know I struggle with that. So a lot of people don't get the best insight to who Ben Rhodes is, other than at the racetrack or doing interviews. But I'm a pretty private person and a super like close circle of friends. My wife's my best friend, and basically I've had my same friends from like third grade. So I grew up with the people that I know, and I've just always kind of kept a tight circle. But living in Kentucky, it's nice. I'm very much a, kind of a homegrown type of guy. I don't want to move away, join this big crowd. I know in Charlotte, everybody they live on the lake, and they party on the lake, and they drive their boats on the lake. And it's like this whole clique and atmosphere. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not necessarily who I am to try to get into a clique. We enjoy our time out having bonfires in the fall and going to our local wineries. We got a lot of good local wineries where I'm at, a lot of good local farms that we go shop at, and kind of makes it feel like home when I have all that. So I'm partial to where I'm at. I just don't like all the allergies that are here.
I can hear you on that one. I can hear you on that one. Chat with Ben Rhodes here on the inside lane, the driver of the number 99 Ford F-150 for Thor Sport. Before I let you go, Ben, and before we eventually one day get to Martinsville and then at Phoenix, gotta do a segment I do with you with every driver. It's called Quick Time. Got some rapid fire questions for you, looking for some answers in return. You ready to say quick time, Ben?
Let's do it.
All right, first and foremost, your favorite city to travel to for a race?
I'm not very quick at this. I already messed up. Probably Homestead, Miami.
All right, why Homestead?
Well, we go down to the Keys afterwards and
Nice.
go down there. We spend some time as a family after that race, and it's just a short drive. So if we don't have practice and I race at night, I can literally drive up from the Keys, and it's kind of like you're living in a paradise and racing in paradise. It's like, man, am I in heaven?
All right, how about the most difficult car or aircraft you've ever piloted? Put it that way.
Ooh, most difficult truck. That's a rich, luscious question, my crew chief, because he determines how good or bad of a weekend I'm going to have inside. I mean, I'll tell him sometimes, I'm like, I don't really hold back. He was making fun of me because he was watching the race last year, and he said they played my audio, and he's like, you really don't hold back on what you think about our trucks. And I was like, well, the trucks are awesome. I'm just not so sure about the setup that's in there. And yeah, most difficult truck. They didn't really answer your question. That's like maybe Texas this year. That was a pretty tough one to drive.
All right, how about if one stands out as your favorite kind of fan interaction?
Not autograph sessions. They're too quick. I like the ones where if I meet at a hotel, if I'm chilling at the hotel with the race team, like we won at Daytona this year. We get done at Daytona, we drive right across the street. We stay at this, I think it was like the home suites or something. And we're all celebrating outside around this fire pit. And the fans that just watched the race are there with us. We got the trophy. We're sitting outside with the trophy. We're having all kinds of food and drink. And yeah, that was a really cool interaction. And I'll tell you, I think we're going to make it a tradition. If we're staying at the same place next year, I think those same folks will be there. And, it's something you won't forget. It makes some friends that way.
I love it. I love it. How about this? Any bucket list aircraft that you want to pilot sometime?
Ooh, that's tough. So I don't have an actual bucket list aircraft because there's so many that I think are so cool. But I'll say that I've always wanted to take aerobatics lessons.
Okay.
And I always think that's really, really cool. There's from what I understand, there's like a flight school about an hour from me, a gentleman that has a couple different aircraft. And basically what I was thinking, I was going to rent a plane, fly up to him, hop out of my plane, get in his plane, and let him start teaching me. And that's been on my bucket list. I just haven't done it yet. So maybe in the future, I don't know. I got to get my wife to sign off on it first too.
That's a priority. Learning a lot about Ben Rhodes today. Last one for you. If you have an opportunity to race for a championship in Phoenix on November 5th, what do you think will be the biggest hurdle to overcome that weekend?
Oh man. Well, here's the biggest hurdle last year was the late race cautions. The late race cautions, my teammate Grant Enfinger decided to stay out. Some of the other guys decided to go in. The ones that went in and got tires, Sheldon Creed, he won the race. Brett Moffitt dominated the whole race and didn't win. So that's a hurdle that we don't even know if we're going to deal with. But I mean, I have a feeling there's going to be late race caution. Why would there not be? People are going to be, there's always late race cautions everywhere we go. So there's always people wrecking on the last lap. Man, I think that's going to be the big hurdle. We got to figure out, where we're at on tires, how big of a buffer we would have to who took tires, and what that's going to be. That's going to be in my crew chief's hands, because if that's a call that has to be made, I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it. I'll let them make it, and then I'll just drive as hard as I can.
Ben, a privilege to have you here on the inside lane. Love chatting with you last year. Love doing it this year too, and looking forward to NASCAR Championship Weekend, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Hope to see you there racing for a championship, and maybe we'll pick this conversation up on that big old stage on Friday night. Sound good?
I hope so. Thank you.
This is the Inside Lane on Sports 360 AZ. Keep it right here for everything NASCAR Championship Weekend.